Solo Leveling is one of the biggest and best shows right now. This show honestly took the world by storm even before it came out early last year. And let's just say it definitely lived up to the hype and then some. And I'm not even talking about a specific season. Like from start to finish, this show has been all gas and no breaks, and I've been loving it. The only other critique that I see a lot of people saying is that the story is just kind of bland-ish. A lot of the critiques are just saying it's about a character who just never loses, and to that I can just say, why can't you just sit back and have fun? People that sit down and actually watch the show know exactly what they're about to get into. They're gonna get some high-stake fights with amazing animation, beautiful voice acting, amazing powers, and a really cool story to boot. Like, in all honesty, I've been having way too much fun watching this show as of late, but there's not really one thing I can pin down that why me and millions of other people love this show, but there's a couple things that come to mind. But before I get into that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support you guys have shown in my last couple of videos. Like, consistently getting over the 1K view mark is honestly such a big accomplishment for me, and I can't thank you guys enough. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, please hit that subscribe button. As it currently stands, less than 1% of people that are actually watching my videos are subscribed. So if you guys enjoy my stuff, please hit the subscribe button so I know you guys do and you want more of it, and thank you guys again. But back at the topic at hand, let's go ahead and get back into why Solo Leveling is doing as well as it is right now. For starters, Jinwoo is probably one of the most badass main characters that we've had in a hot minute. But was he always like that? Hell no. You could probably throw a rusty knife at this dude and he would probably almost die. But he did catch a lucky break after he got torn limb from limb. After waking up in a hospital bed for the millionth time, he actually learned that he was reawakened by something called the system. And he did what every reasonable person would do after this. He got really buff and got a haircut. And ever since then, he's been dropping bodies left and right. After this point, this is where a lot of complaints start flooding in. Because after this point, there isn't really a lot of losing. A lot of people are just kind of used to how like One Piece and Naruto kind of have like the system where there's a villain, he loses, he learns from it, and then he learns how to beat him. Yeah, Jinwoo just kind of lines him up and knocks him down like the menace that he is. And in all honesty, I kind of like it. While yes, I do like stories that have those trials and tribulations, but it's kind of refreshing to kind of see the other side of it. Like this whole system thing that he has is so fucking cool, dude. As you all know, his whole power system is basically like a plug and play as a video game character. Like he has stats that he can upgrade after he levels up, he has a daily quest, and hell, he even has a shop. And as he keeps fighting, he can unlock different kinds of skills and get gear that actually give side effects and debuffs, and it's honestly awesome. And the one thing I kind of like about his character is how he always gets compared to the top people in his universe. Throughout the show, there are ranks assigned to hunters on how powerful they actually are, going from E all the way to S. And the funny part is, he just got assigned the rank of S, even though I think he probably could have had that rank on for a while now. And whenever this man has a serious fight, like everything gets bumped up to an 11. From the amazing animation and voice acting to the amazing OSTs playing in the background on some of these fights, it's honestly so easy to get glued to your screen whenever you're watching this. And speaking of being glued, does anybody think that the runtime that it shows you before the episodes is just like straight up lying to you? Like the episodes are just so action-packed and fast-paced that it feels like time is just going by so much faster than what it really is. If this show wasn't weekly and all the episodes came out at once, I think I would probably accidentally binge it all in like one day. And not to mention, some of the fight scenes that I've seen are some of the best that I've seen in such a long time. In all honesty, I will put some of these on the same level as some of the best fights that we've seen in the past couple of years. Like for instance, I can even point out 2 fights just from season 2 alone that are some of the top 10 best of the entire year, or even past 3. There's just so much care and attention to detail in some of these fights, and it's honestly so refreshing to see. And man, let me tell you, the most recent fight with Jinwoo versus the Demon King got me out of my seat. If I'm gonna be honest, I have watched that scene at least 3 times because I just kept wanting more and more every single time I've watched it. Oh my god, it's just so good. Like me and my friend just sat there in complete starstruck, just figuring out what just happened. Well, yes, a lot of the fights end up with him winning, but you just learn to expect him to win. And like I said before, I don't hate it at all. If anything, I actually like it. I mean, you still get the highest stakes of seeing if he will or won't lose, and in all honesty, that's enough for me. Going back to the fight against the Demon King, I thought the Demon King was actually going to beat him a couple of times. Now, I don't know what the future holds for this series because I haven't read the manhwa, but I do actually plan on picking it up once the second season does conclude. But like I said, I would love to actually see a fight that he actually does lose later down the line. Like, I don't know, I just think it would be really interesting to see how he tackles it and what he can do to get stronger off of that, and what other stuff that he can learn and other abilities that he can unlock as well. I mean, I wouldn't complain if things continued exactly how they are. I mean, him getting more shadow soldiers that are even more powerful would be honestly super cool. I hope to see the more dynamic with them as well. But I would love to see what kind of a direction that it could go if he actually does lose. But all in all, I love the fights and they're some of the best parts of the entire show. The only close second I can have in terms of quality would probably be the voice acting. But in all honesty, this is some of the best voice acting I have seen in a while. And yes, I know I'm saying that a lot, but please bear with me. However, this might be a little controversial, but I do think that the English dub is a lot better than the Japanese version. Now that is very rare for me to say, but the only shows I can really say that I preferred the dub over the sub is shows like Naruto, Assassination Classroom, and Attack on Titan. And hell, I'll even throw Black Clover into the mix because I've only watched that in dub. But then again, it is very rare to have an English dub better than a Japanese version because of how many talented Japanese voice actors there are. But in this case, the English cast just dog walks them, especially Jinwoo's voice actor. Like, he makes his character his own, and I just implore you to watch some of the best moments that in that dub. The raw emotion and just the way that he delivers his lines just gives you goosebumps every single time. Like, this show just has so many strong points, and I love that voice acting is one of the best ones. But man, this show is honestly such a huge breath of fresh air from all the peak writing era of the new generation. While yes, having something that makes sense is very key to a story, however, you don't need to be the next Attack on Titan or the next JJK. You can just have a story about a badass character that's really strong, that has a whole legion of shadow soldiers behind them. Solo Leveling does everything that it needs to do to push the character that it needs to, and has the action and other elements to keep everybody glued to their seats. And a lot of people are saying that this show is just super overhyped, and to that I say, just go back to Twitter, twiddle your thumbs, and for the love of God, shut up. I'm just so glad I have a show I can just watch amazing fights and just be hooked on without having to look around the corner or try to predict what's about to happen next or what connects to what. But do not get me wrong, I love shows that do that. Some of my favorites are shows that do that. But it's just nice to have something that's its own little thing and just sets up its own world with twists and turns. But I honestly just can't wait to see what happens in the second season and in the manhwa whenever I actually pick it up at the end. But until then, I will be consuming all that I can from this show, and I will continue to count down the days until Saturday to see what new fights and new events that will happen in the future.